From today's video, I will explain you how to create a video live streaming application using Flutter and ZegoCloud. Okay, let me demonstrate the application what we are building together. So there are three users as user A, user B and user C. We can use the Google Authentication for the login, and the user A will start the live streaming. First we have to enter the live ID, and here we have to accept the permissions, and here I am. So from this panel, before starting the live, I can add any filters, any face beautician filters to my face also. You guys can see, let me add some filters. Here the live streaming is started and the user C have joined the live. You can see the user count is increased to 2. Okay, so let the user B also join the live. User B will first create his account and join to the live by entering the same live ID 1234. So as you guys can see, there are 3 users in the live chat also. So we can add any audio effects as you guys can see here, and also we can add reverb to our audio. So here are many features that we can control our camera, we can control our microphone, and we can use the chat feature also. You guys can see host and the audience can chat inside this window. Let audience member to reply the message. Let the user B will reply as hey. Here you can see the message from the user B is appeared in other audience also. So this is the application that we are gonna build today. So as we saw in the video introduction, we are building an application by using Flutter that we can live stream. Okay, so here you can read what are the things that we are going to integrate with this application. So first of all, let me show the tech stack that we are going to use in this video. Okay, we all know that building a service or building a feature that we can use to live stream will be much difficult. So we are using the live stream SDK provided from this service called ZegoCloud. Okay, I already did a video about ZegoCloud. Let me show you. So this is the video that I discussed how to integrate the video and voice call SDK provided from the ZegoCloud team with Flutter. Okay, if you want a feature that will be required a video or voice call, you can integrate the ZegoCloud SDK about the video and voice call. Okay, because also they are providing 10,000 free minutes to use inside our projects. Okay, that will be much sufficient for every one of us for the testing process also. Okay, so I will link the video in the description so you guys can check that later. So we are focusing on the so in this today's video we are focusing on the live streaming SDK that is provided from the ZegoCloud team. Okay, so this is the tech stack. Obvious, we are using ZegoCloud Livestream SDK. We are using Flutter, and also I will show you how to do the authentication, Google Authentication using Firebase. Okay. So here I added all the steps that we are going to proceed in this video. We will first create a Flutter project, and next we will create a Firebase project. Okay, obvious. Then we have to do the configuration. Okay, if we want to work with Flutter and Firebase, we have to configure both projects. Okay, then in our second step we will do the configurations. Okay, in the third step we will create the authentication. I will show how to use the Gmail authentication that is provided from the Firebase team. Next, I will introduce the ZegoCloud services and what are the services and what are the other services that they offer that we can use inside our applications. And I will go too deep in the integration of the live streaming SDK that the ZegoCloud team provided with the Flutter in this video. And finally, we will do some testings to check whether all the features are working fine. Okay. So also I added all the packages that we are going to use in this video. So as I guess you guys already know about the cache network images, Google fonts. So the Google sign-in package will be much helpful while using the Google authentication using Firebase. Okay, so these two packages will be related to the Firebase, and these three packages will be related to the ZegoCloud to integrate the live streaming SDK. Okay, I will go through each by each when we are integrating these services in these steps. Okay, so let's go and create our Flutter project and our Firebase project. Okay, so let me create a new folder. Let me name this as so let me name this as Flutter live app. Okay, you guys can add any name to this folder, and I will open this folder inside my CMD. Now I will create a Flutter application. For first, before creating the Flutter application, let me show my Flutter version. So, okay, I missed the R over here. So let me show the Flutter version. So this is the Flutter version that I am currently using, and this is the latest stable version. The version is 3.24 and the Dart version is 3.5. Okay. So when you watch the video, the version numbers can be changed and the SDK will be updated. Okay. So let's create a Flutter project first. Flutter create. I will specify a dot over here because I want to create a Flutter project directly inside this folder. Okay. So let's open the Flutter project inside VS Code. So now let's move to the Firebase and create a new Firebase project over here. So over here, I already have a project created on Firebase called Flutter Live, and I will use this project for this video. But if you want to create a new project, it is fairly simple. I guess you guys already know about these things. So if you want to create a new project, click on create project and give a project name and hit on continue. Okay. So I will use this Flutter Live. So now we are in our first step. You guys already know we have created our Flutter project and we have already created our Firebase project. So our first step is already completed. So now we have to do the configurations. So let me go to the Firebase dashboard. And as we know, we have to configure with Flutter. I will click on this button. So to do these configurations, you should have some knowledge about Firebase CLI and Flutterfire CLI. I already did a video about Flutterfire CLI and I will link that video in the video description. So this is fairly simple steps. I will show all the steps and I will go through all the steps in this video also. So to configure, we should install Firebase CLI inside our working environment. Okay, you can select what's your operating system. If you are using Windows, you can click on Windows. If you are using Mac OS and if you are using Linux, you can select over here. As we are using Windows, I will click on Windows. So first of all, you must have installed Node.js inside your working environment. Okay, if you haven't installed Node.js, go to if you want to install Node.js, you can click on this link, or you can visit this website about to download Node.js. This is nodejs.org. Okay, so here from here you can download the latest long-term support version. Okay, so after downloading and installing, you have to configure the environmental variables. Let me show how to configure the environmental variables. You can type env in the search bar and this window will be pop up. Okay, go to the environmental variables. So after installation of Node.js, you can go to the program files and you can find the folder called Node.js, and you can copy this path and go to the environmental variables. Inside path, create a new environmental variable and paste the path to the Node.js you have installed. Okay, then click on OK and OK. So now the environmental paths and variables are configured, and you can type node dash dash version to check what's the node version already installed. If you are getting any errors rather than the node version, you should again install the node version correctly. Okay, all right, I guess you have already installed Node. So you can download this Firebase CLI for Windows over here. And this is a fairly very simple step. You have to click on next, and you can select the location to install. But I will recommend keep the default location and hit on install. Okay. Those are the steps. After installing the Firebase CLI, I guess you have already installed Flutter. I will click on next. So next we have to configure and we have to activate the Firebase CLI, Flutterfire CLI inside this project. You can copy this and I will move to the my Flutter project and I will open terminal. I will click on terminal and click on new terminal. So let me zoom over here and I will paste that code that I have copied from the Firebase configuration steps. Okay, this is the code dart pub global activate Firebase CLI. After pasting, you must install the Firebase CLI to do these steps. Okay, so you can see the Flutterfy CLI is activated, and next this code will bind the Flutter and Firebase projects with the correct configurations. Okay, and I will paste that and enter also. So here you can select what are the platforms you want to configure. I will only use Android and iOS. I will deselect all these two. And next you have to enter your path name, your namespace. To find the namespace, you can go to the Android folder, app, go to the build gradle, and inside build gradle, you can find this namespace over here in the line 9, and you can copy this namespace, and I will go to the terminal again, and I will paste this namespace over here. Okay, it's pasted over here. It's okay. You can enter. So this is fetching the required things over here. You can see. Let me maximize this. You can see the namespace is correctly entered over here. You should enter your namespace. Don't copy and paste this. Okay. No, I will close this. Close that, and you can see the two platforms and the Firebase application IDs over here. Also, let me zoom out this, and inside the folders, let me go to the lib, and you guys should see this Firebase options file over here. Okay, nice. Now we can click on next, and we have to install a package to work with this Firebase options file. So let me go to the pubdiff and install this package. You can search for Firebase core and go to the pubdiff, and this is the package that we want, Firebase core. And I will go to the pubspec YAML and add this package over here. Under the cappuccino icons, I will add the Firebase core package. Right, now we can do the configuration steps over here. So now we have to initialize the Firebase inside our main. Let me do this initializations. Make this main function as an asynchronous function. Widgets flutter binding ensure initialized, and I will paste that code that I have copied, and I will import the Firebase core package over here. Okay, so these steps are fairly very simple steps. Okay, now the Firebase things are already configured. Now we have to, let me clear all these things. So I will clear all these things and create a new stateless widget called my app. Okay, let's go to the Firebase CLI and click on continue to console. So now all the configuration steps are done related to the Firebase things. Okay. So as we are working with Firebase Auth, let me install the Firebase Auth package also. So this is the package that we want to install, Firebase Auth. These version numbers can be changed. That is okay. I will install the Firebase Auth package also over here to do the authentications with the Firebase. Also, as we are doing the Google authentication, as you guys can see, we want to install this package also, the Google sign-in package. Let me install that package also. So this package will help us to do the Google sign-in steps inside the Flutter and Firebase. Okay, so let me install that package also, Google sign-in. Okay, now we have to configure the authentication steps over here. First, now let's go to the Firebase project, and in the build section, I will activate the authentication. From here, I will add Google as my authentication provider, and I will enable. Okay, and I will select my email address, and I will click on save. For to do these things, we should also register our SHA key, and this will be pop up over here. I can remember. Okay, now we have to do the configurations, and I will click on done. So I will come to this authentication again, and I will click on sign in methods, and I will edit the Google sign in. And from here you can see, to enable Google sign in for your Android apps, you must provide the SHA fingerprint. Okay, I will click on this link and I will generate the SHA key. So from here you can scroll to the bottom. Here you can find a command. This is the command, Gradle report, sign in Gradle report. So I will copy this command, and over here I will move to the project settings. This will take me to the project settings, and I will scroll down, and here I should add the SHA1 or SHA256 fingerprint. I will explain how to generate the SHA1 fingerprint or SHA256. So to do this, you should copy this command and go to your Flutter project, and I will go to the terminal again. Now I will move to my Android folder, and I will paste that code that I have copied. Okay, this will generate the SHA key. This will take some time. Okay, here you can find the SHA key. This key will be different for each of us, so you should create your own SHA key. And after creating the SHA key, I will move to the Firebase project settings, and I will paste here, and it will be identified automatically as SHA1, and I will click on save. So you must do these steps to have the Google authentication. Okay. So here, before proceeding to the authentications, let me also configure the ZegoCloud packages over here, because we can do all the configuration steps at once and we can start coding. Okay. So for do the configurations, we have to go to the ZegoCloud, and first we have to create an account over here. So let me demonstrate how to create the account in ZegoCloud. Let's move to the ZegoCloud. If you search for ZegoCloud, you can find this link, and I will enter the ZegoCloud. If you already have an account, you can go to your account. It is showing as my account because I have already an account created over here. So creating an account in ZegoCloud is fairly simple. You have to enter your email and confirm your email, and your name, and those things will be much simpler. And you have to select your country also. I explained you in the previous video how to create an account over here. So you guys can see I am having free 10,000 minutes, and I have spent only 8 minutes of this 10,000 minutes. I will this 10,000 minutes will be expired from 1 month. Okay, you should remember that also. So for integrations, before the project integrations, let us go to the documentation. For the documentation, let's go to the UI kits over here. So let me show what are the UI kits that they are offering. It's fairly simple to integrate all these things with ZegoCloud already. So they are offering one-to-one video and audio calls, group calls, video conference SDK, live streaming. This is the thing that we are going to use today, and also live audio room, in-app chat. Okay, these are very important things that already configured and offered to us to for our easy usage. Okay, so we are using, and we are so today in this video we are using the live streaming SDK with Flutter. I will click on Flutter over here. So this will take us to the documentation. I will move to the light mode again. So here, this is the overview. In here they have already added the already. So in here we have to do some project settings, as you can remember in our latest last video. As you must remember, in our last video we did some configuration steps to get this up and running. Okay, so these are the features that the video live streaming package offers. Ready to use live streaming, customizable UI style, real. So they are providing also a chat window inside our live that will be very easy to integrate. Okay, so all these things will be uh, already pre-configured. We don't have to worry about these things. These things will be already configured, as you saw in the introduction, and I will show while integrating these things. Okay, So here you can see a sample application what we are going to build, and this will be a sample code over here. Okay, and we have to click on the quick start for the basic live. So here we have to install some packages and do some configurations. Okay, here are the configuration things that we have to do. There are some things that we have to do. Okay, okay, these things are fairly simple. Okay, before going through these things, let me show the full source code that we have already have inside our GitHub. Okay, so let me integrate these things. So let me close this and let me go to the ZegoCloud dashboard again. So you should create an account to do these things first, and after creating an account you will be moved to this dashboard. Okay, and if you want to create a new project you can click on create a new project. Okay, we are using live streaming today. I will select the live streaming option and I will click on next. You have to enter project name. Let me enter Flutter video stream. Okay, Flutter video stream. So here I will use UI kits that they offer. You can also use their custom SDK, but the UI kit will be very easy and very nice to use inside our applications. Okay, our project is created and I will select here. We have to select the what is the platform that we are going to build. I will build for Flutter and I will click on Flutter. Okay, now we have to save and start to integrate. Okay, now I can click on this quick start. So let's go to the integration steps also. So first we have to install all the packages. I showed you initially. These are the three packages that we are going to require to do this project. Okay. So let me search for Sego UI kit package. So here you can see the Sego UI kit package. I will copy this package and I will also install this package over here, Sego UI kit. The next package is Sego UI kit signaling plugin. Let me search for Sego UI kit signaling plugin over here. And this is the plugin that we are going to require. Then I will copy this likewise, and after copying I will also install this package. After Sego signaling plugin, we have to install the Sego UI kit pre-built live streaming. This package will be help us to integrate the live streaming capabilities. So this is the package that we are going to require. Let me copy this and let me install this package also. Okay, now all the packages are installed. Let's move to the next step. We have to import these things, and here we have to get the live ID, username and user ID. I will teach all these things while we are coding. So this is the code that we have to integrate inside our application to open the live streaming panels. You guys can see how much easy this is. So here first we have to do the configuration steps over here. So let's move to the first step, edit Android build inside the Android, inside the app. Here we have to edit our build Gradle file. So we have to add this dependency. Let me copy this and let's move to the Flutter project and go to our Android folder, app folder, and find the build Gradle file and move to down and add this dependency over here. Okay, that's the first step. So next we have to use the minimum SDK version as 21. So here is an problem. Here we have one little problem. Let me move to the GitHub repository and check what's the minimum SDK version that we have used. Okay. So the minimum SDK version that we should use is 23 because we are using Firebase authentication over here for to the authentication work. we have to use the minimum SDK version as 23. Okay, so please use the minimum SDK version as 23. If you are not using Firebase, the 21 will be work for the ZegoCloud. So next we have to change our compiled SDK version. Here also we have to use the compiled SDK version as 34. Okay, so let's move to the compiled SDK version and change the version to 34. Okay, now let's move to the other step. So the first step is done. Now we have to move to the second main step. Okay, we have to add a build script over here. In the Android build Gradle file, we have to add the build script to use the Kotlin version as 1.8.0. Okay, so let's move to the build script. Let's move to the build script. Here you can find the build Gradle file directly inside your Android folder. This is the build Gradle file. So here there is no place to implement the. So in here, in the latest Flutter version, there is no build script over here. So to change the Kotlin version, you can move to the settings Gradle file over here. After moving to the settings Gradle file, you can find the Kotlin version also. So this is the Kotlin version. You can see this is the Kotlin version. We have to use 1.8.0. You can change the Kotlin version as 1.8.0. If this not worked, we can change the build Gradle file also. So let's first give a try and check whether this will be work. Okay. Okay, now this step is already completed. Now we have to modify the permissions. Let me copy these permissions over here. So you guys can find all these steps from our files. So to check the permissions, you can move to the app, move to the source, move to the main. You can find the Android manifest file. So these are all the permissions that we have added. Okay. So let me copy these permissions over here and let me move to the Android app source and main and find the find the manifest file, and let me zoom out and paste the permissions that you have copied from there. Okay, here we have to do some extra step. We have to add this package also inside our manifest tag. Okay, you can copy that and you can add this as I am showing inside the manifest tag. Okay, right, so that step is already done, and we have to add the ProGuard rules also over here. We can create a ProGuard rules.pro file inside our app directory. Okay, you can see Android app. Sorry, let me move to back. Okay, this is the step that we were. Go to the Android folder and go to the app folder, and let's create a new file called ProGuard rules pro. I will copy the file name and I will move to the Android, and inside my app I will create a new file and I will rename this as ProGuard rules. Please check that this file must be inside the app folder. As you can see, the file is inside the app folder. So inside this ProGuard rules file I will add this code. Okay, you can copy the code and just add this inside your ProGuard rules. And next we have to again go to the Android app and build Gradle, and we have to add these ProGuard rules get default ProGuard file over here in the build types. Okay, in the manify enabled, under the manify enabled. So let's move to the build Gradle file inside our app directory. In the build types, I guess in the build types we have to paste this inside the release object. Okay, so we have to paste this inside our release object. Okay, now let's see, those are the steps that we have to do, and let's try this for if we have did some errors we can find. So for find any errors we have to run this application inside our emulator first. Okay, so let me go through each and every step that we have configured so far. Okay, first you have to move to the Android and app folder, and you can find the build Gradle file over here. In the build Gradle file, we changed our minimum SDK to be 23 and our compiled SDK to be 34. Okay, that's the first step we did. Next, we went to our settings Gradle file and changed to use the Kotlin version as 1.8.0. You can change the Kotlin version from the settings Gradle file in the new Flutter version. Okay, this will be not work, but we have to first give a try. And next, we went to our build Gradle file and added these dependencies over here. And we next created Prograd and next we created a ProGuard rule and configured the ProGuard rule over here in the build types release object. Okay, those are the 4 steps that we have to do to configure the ZegoCloud plugins. So I selected my emulator and I will try to run this application first. So let me go to the main.dart and I will click on run without debugging. Let's see if we are getting any errors. So as you can see, the project is successfully working. So let me explain. So to get this project up and running, I had to do 2 things. Okay. First, I had to remove the package that we added over here. You can, if you can remember, we added some package, this package over here, the live streaming package. I had to remove that package to run these services with the latest Flutter version. Okay. So also in this build Gradle file, I have to remove that dependency thing that we have added, the specifying the Kotlin version, okay? Because in the latest Flutter version, we don't have to specify and we don't have even a specialization or initialization for the Kotlin version inside this build Gradle file. All the version is managed in the settings Gradle file. As we change the Kotlin version as 1.8.0, that will be sufficient, so we don't have to add any dependencies over here. So if you have any dependencies over here, please remove that and also remove the package from this manifest tag. Those are the 2 changes that you should do to this to get this thing up and running. Okay, so after doing those changes, let me show my application is successfully running. I am getting this placeholder because I am returning a placeholder here. Let me return a material app over here and do the configuration steps that so you can see the changes inside the material app. I will do this. Okay, after reloading you can see my application is successfully working. So you must do these 2 changes. So you can find all the source code in my GitHub repository, and I will update the GitHub repository to run the project with the latest Flutter version also. So don't be afraid, you can find all the source codes in the my GitHub repository. Okay, now we initialize the Flutter Firebase to so here we initialize Firebase services to run with our application. Also here we have to initialize the ZegoCloud services to run with our application. Before initializing ZegoCloud, let's first configure the authentication steps that we have to do. Okay. Oh, so let's first work on the authentication. So here first I am going to create some widgets that I should need. Okay. So here let me create a new folder over here, and so let me create a pages folder, and inside this I will create another folder called auth. Okay, so all the screens that is required and related to the authentication I will add inside this auth folder. So here I am going to create a login.dart file because I want a login screen first to add the login things. So also here you can find our application logo inside this assets folder. I will download this logo to use in my application also. And let me move to the images folder and let me paste the image over here. And after moving to the code, you can find the assets folder, and inside the assets folder we can find the images folder and we can find our logo over here. Also, to use any assets, we have to configure the pubspec YAML, and I will do the configuration steps first. So let me say assets and images. Okay, this will allow you so this will allow us to use any assets inside this location. So allow the pubget to run and check whether any yellow or red lines are appearing. So as I am getting no error. I will continue, and I will continue building this login page UI. Okay. So here let me create an stateful widget and code as login page. Here I need one variable over here to check the loading status. So I am specifying as the variable as is loading. Let me disable the compilations. So here I want an scaffold. Inside this scaffold, uh, let me add the app bar first. So here I am using a simple app bar. So you should remove the constant over here. I am using a simple app bar. Let me render the login page first. Then you can see in the home, I am going to render my login page. Okay. So we can see what we are building. So here you can see we are having our application logo. Also here I am using some themes to get the Google Fonts and the theme up and running the dark mode. Okay, so configure the theme inside our material app. We have a theme data object. So the problem is we are having a constant over here. So inside the theme data, we can set the font family. I am using the Lato font over here from the Google Fonts. So you should install the Google Fonts library to do this. Google Fonts. Inside the Google Fonts, I am getting the. Let's see what's the error that we are getting. I guess we already installed that Google Fonts package. Let's see. Uh, okay, we don't have the Google Fonts package. I am having a short. Let me show some trick. If you want to install some package, you have to install this dot extension. If you have this dot extension installed, okay, you must install this dot extension, and there is a shortcut Control Shift and P, and here you can find this add dependency thing over here. If you don't find this, you can scroll this and find the dot section. So let me scroll. In the dot section you can find a thing called this add dependency. Inside this add dependency you can type any package you want, as I want the Google Fonts package, and if I click on enter, this package will be automatically installed with the latest version. Okay, as you guys can see, the Google Fonts package is installed. Let me paste this over here. Okay, now we can use the Google Fonts. Now we should be able to import this Google Fonts. Inside the Google Fonts, I am using the Lato font family. Okay. Also the brightness, I want to use the dark mode, so I am using the brightness dot dark option over here. So this will change our font, and also this will change the you can see this changed our background color, scaffold color, as to use the dark mode, and also this changed our font family. So let's move to the login page and continue building. Okay, I have added the app bar, so I will continue building the body. I'm using a padding widget over here, and let me add a const padding from every direction as 16. Okay, as the child I want a column, because we can keep multiple children inside this column. So here I will paste these things. I am using a text and image widget to do these things. You can find the code from my GitHub repository also. There is no point of coding me these text widget and image widgets. Okay, after placing these things, you can see we added some description, and here is our logo also. So let me do the alignments. So in the main axis alignment, I am using the main axis alignment as start. Okay, so here I added the logo and those things are over here, and I want a button to do the Google sign in. So let me add the button under the this text field. Okay, under this text field I am using a sized box. and let me give this height as 20. I am using an elevated button over here. Elevated button. In the elevated button, I will do the onPressed later. Okay. So before setting the child, I can check whether the process is still loading. If the process is still loading, I will show a circular progress indicator over here. So let me copy and paste that widget. If the data is still loading, I am showing a text widget and a circular progress widget over here inside a row. So if the process is not loading and still the data is not submitted, I am showing a text widget over here. Okay, we can make this as a constant. Now we can format these things after adding commas and hit on save. This will be automatically format, and you can see the button over here. So to see the button much more clearly, I will add some decorations. Okay, we can add the styling to the elevated button. These things are fairly simple, so you can add the styling from to the elevated button as elevated button dot style from. Here I add some paddings and some shape and some background color. So this will change the shape of our button like this. So if you want to have more border radius of the button, you can increase the border radius anytime. Okay, so this is good, and I want to increase this font size for, let's say I want 18. 18 is much more. I guess I want 16. Okay, the 16 is good, and I want some horizontal padding also. Let me get horizontally 20 padding. Okay, this is good. Okay, we have to submit and we have to create pressed button on pressed event over here. So to do the submit, we have to do the onPressed. By the onPressed, we have to configure the Firebase authentication to do the Google sign in. Okay. So to do this, we can do this very simply. Let me create a services folder, and inside the services, I am creating an auth.dart file to configure my authentication service. Okay. So let me create a simple class auth service. Okay, now we can configure all these methods related to the authentication inside my auth service class. Okay. Here I should create an Firebase instance first. Let me create Firebase Auth instance. Firebase Auth. Let me name this as Auth. This is an Firebase Auth instance. Okay. Also, we have to create an instance from that Google Services Google Sign-in plugin. Let me import Google Sign-in, and we can name this as Google Sign-in, and this is from Google Sign-in package. So, okay, we import these two packages also, Firebase Auth and Google Sign-in. Now we can perform the sign-in with Gmail method. Let me create an method for sign-in with Gmail. Okay, this is very easy. Firebase make these things very easy. Let me create a future method, so I don't want anything to return over here. Sign in with, let's say, Google. So here I don't need to pass any parameters. So let me add the try catch block. We can have some errors. So if we have some errors, let me print that error over here like this. Okay, error sign into Google in the catch block. So in the try block, we can let me add comments so you guys can understand this further. So we have to trigger a process, Google sign in process. If the user click on that button, let me show. If the user click on this button, we have to create a process called Google sign in. Okay, to create this process, we can use the Google sign in package that we have created. In here there is a method called sign in. Okay, you have to use this method. So this method will return us a Google sign in account. Okay, that means a Google user, the sign in user. let me get the Google user as into a variable called Google user. So let's check whether we have an Google user. If the Google user is null, we can return from here. Okay, this is an check that we can do. So after creating the Google user, we can obtain the Google sign-in authentication from the Google user object. For do this, we can await from the Google user that we have created, we can get the authentication, not the authentication headers, we can get the authentication details. So this is the Google authentication details. Let me take this into a variable called Google Auth. Okay. After taking the Google authentication details, we can create the credentials to use in the Firebase Auth. Okay. To create the credentials, we can use the Google Auth provider from the Firebase. You can hover over this and you can see the package that we are using, the Google Authentication Provider. This is provided from Firebase. So you can use the Google Authentication Provider credential method. Here we have to pass two properties, the access token, and the access token can be taken from the Google Auth because we have the user details in the Google Auth. Here there is an method property called access token. Okay. Here, as we took the access token, there is another field called ID token. So it's fairly simple. We can take the ID token from the Google user like this. So this will return us a credential. Okay. So let me store this as a credential. And also next we can use the auth package await because we have the credentials now. We can sign in with credentials. We can use the method that the Firebase service offering. The method name is sign in with credentials. As we have the credentials, we can pass the credentials over here. Okay, those are the steps that we should do to configure the Google login. That's fairly easy. Let me go through these steps once again. We have to trigger a Google process when the user clicked on this button. We have to trigger a process and get the user that from the Google account, get the Google account user that is going to log in from this application. After getting the Google account, we can create the credential object using the Google Auth provider. After getting the credentials, we can use the sign in with credentials method that provided from the Firebase Auth to create a new user in the Firebase Auth. Okay, right. Now we can also create the sign out method. Also, let me create the sign out method also. This will be a future method and this will not return anything. Sign out. Okay. This method will be an asynchronous method because we have to await over here. So how to sign out? We can await. And inside this auth, we are having a method called sign out over here. So we can use this. If you want to wrap this inside the try catch block, you can use this try catch block. If you want to throw exceptions, you can throw the Firebase exceptions over here. And inside my GitHub repository, you can find how to throw the Firebase exceptions also. I discuss all the things inside the lib, inside the services, in the auth service. You can find how to throw the exceptions. I have already created an exception map over here. Let me show the exception map. In the utils, you can find the exception map inside this exceptions folder. In this auth exceptions, I have created all the exceptions that can be returned from the Firebase auth. So if the user is mismatched, this will return the credential given does not correspond to the user. So we can show this message to the user from our client side inside our Flutter application. So if you want to follow the complete code, please refer the code that I linked in my GitHub repository. You can find the link to the this GitHub repository from the video description below. Okay. We can create a method that we can use inside the application to get the current login user, current authenticated user from the Firebase. This will return us a user. This is a Firebase user over here. This is an Firebase user. We can create a method called get current user. So we can use the auth object over here also, auth dot. There is a method called current user. Okay, so this will return a Firebase user. You can see this user is a Firebase user. Okay, this will return null if there is a node user. This will return the user details if there is an some user. You can access the user name, user ID, user's profile image. So you can access those things by this current user object. Okay, so this method will be help us to get the current login user details. Okay. Right, this is the things that we should create or that we should implement before configuring the authentication service inside our Flutter application. We created a method to use the Google sign-in from the help of these two packages, the Firebase Auth and Google sign-in package. And we created a method to sign out, and we created the method to get the currently login user details. Okay. Right, let's move to the login page and configure these methods over here. I will move to the login page, and you guys can remember we keep the onPress method empty. Okay, so let's do this as if the process is loading. I will if let me explain this after creating this Google login, or let's say sign in with Google. So this method we should create. What I did here is, if the process is loading, if the user click on this button while the process is loading, we are submitting null. If the process is not loading, only we are submitting this method. So we have to create this method over here. Okay. Right. Let's create that method. So this method is very easy. I will paste this method over here. This is very easy. So you guys can see there is no home page, and I can import the authentication service over here. Let me explain. Okay, here if the user click on the sign in with Google button, we are setting the loading state to true, so we can show some loading animations over here. So the loading state will be set to true, and we are trying to use the sign in with Google method that we have created. And after the sign-in is successful, we are redirecting the user to our home page. We have to create our home page. Let me create the home page also. In the pages, I am creating the home page. So let create a state. Let's see. Our home page should be an stateless widget. We don't need the state over here. So let me create an stateless widget over here and call this as our home page. And let me throw a scaffold over here. Okay, so we can remove the error by importing our home page. So what we are doing here, if the user authentication is successful, we are redirecting the user to our home page. If we are having some errors, we are showing a dialog. We are showing a dialog box. So as there is if the user is having some errors, we can show the dialog box over here. And finally, we have to set the is loading state to false, because we are setting this inside a finally block. We should not worry about the state of the try or state of the cache block over here. Okay, great. Now we have to now we should be able to run this Google sign in. As you can see, the loading state is working. How the loading state is working, let me explain. The loading state is working like this. Inside this button, as you can remember, we configured this. If the state is loading, we are displaying this, the circular progress indicator and the sign in text. If the button is not loading, we are saying as signing with Google. Okay, you guys can see we are, as we are doing this to the first time, this is trying to check whether we are having a default Google account over here. Okay, I am currently don't have any Google account. Let me register from one of my Google account over here. So if you have added to a step verification to these emails, you should verify this email also. Okay, let me now show the emulator. So you can see this is sending me some messages to my real device that I have already logged in. And if you have already activated the two-step verification, you will be getting these steps also. And I have agreed pressing the same number inside my real device. Okay, now I have to click on agree to authenticate. So I will click on accept. If you have already an Google account in registered inside your emulator, these steps will be not pop up. Okay, this is because we are doing this for the first time. If the authentication step is successful, we will redirect to the home page. Let's say if we are redirecting correctly to our home page. Okay, as we are getting an empty scaffold because our home page is an empty scaffold. Okay, if I add a app bar over here, let me add a simple app bar as a text widget. I am telling this as my home. Okay, if we save, I should get home over here. Okay, so we can confirm that the Google authentication steps are already working and working correctly. To reconfirm this, you can go to the Firebase dashboard, and inside this authentication section, let me show. Inside this authentication tab, you should get the user that we use to login. Okay, so the authentication steps are working correctly. Right, now we have to do the configurations and build the UI of our home page. So let's go and build our home page. I guess you guys are enjoying it. If you guys are having any errors, please check our full code. You can access our full code for this project, full code for this completed project from this GitHub repository. Okay, so in this home page, let me change our app bar over here, and here inside our app bar, I am also setting up the logout button. So let me import the authentication service and our login page. Okay, what I am doing here is I am setting a different. Let me show. I am setting this. So let me remove the center title property. I guess I like the title aligned for the to the left side. Okay, so I am configuring this title, and I am configuring this action. So inside this action, you can add some actions over here. I am configuring an icon button over here. The button name is logout sign out button, the logout button, and I am passing the sign out method that we have created. Okay, you should remember this. Now I should get some details of the user and show the details of the user over here. So for do this inside my build context, I can get these details. Okay, so I have to fetch the user details of the current user. How to fetch the details? As you can see, I will create the user over here, and I will get the current. If you can remember, get current. Let's see. Okay, we have to go through our auth service. We can get the current user. Okay, let's say what's the error. So we can import this user from the Firebase Auth. Okay, right. If we get any user, we can get the user's display name from user. User can be null. Inside the user, there is a display name. If the user is null, I am returning as no name. Likewise, we can get the user email, user ID, and user photo URL, and I will paste the all of the four things over here. Okay, now I can use these details to show the currently login user details inside my application. So after configuring the app bar, I can move to the body. Inside my body, I am using a safe area. Inside my body, I am using a safe area and a padding widget. Let me set the padding as uh, const edge insect I am getting a symmetric padding. I want a symmetric padding because I want the padding from the horizontal direction only. Okay, after setting the padding, I can use a child. I am using a column widget. Okay, inside the column there can be multiple children. So likewise, I can set some alignments for the column. I set the main axis alignment and the cross axis alignment to be center to place all the things in the center of my scaffold. Okay, so in the childs I will use some things. Okay, let me copy these things are very easy to understand. Okay, the display name. Now if the currently user is showing, you can see the details of the user. So here I did is I displayed the user profile inside the circle avatar. You can use the proto URL as we are getting the URL of the login user. We can use the photo URL, and you can use the display name, email, and user ID to show the user details over here. These things are fairly simple, and you guys can find all these codes inside our GitHub repository. Okay. Right, now we have to enter to a live video chat. Okay, live stream. Okay, we should be able to start a live stream or join to a already started live stream of our friends. So now we have to configure the ZegoCloud services over here. So to configure the ZegoCloud, first we have to initialize the ZegoCloud services inside our main.dart file. So for do this, let me move to the main.dart. And after configuring the Firebase, I will use the Sego UI kit. As you can remember, we installed the Sego UI kit package. In the Sego UI kit, there is an init log because we can activate the logs from this init log method. We can initialize the logs. We can see the logs, what's happening inside our application. If the after the initialization of the logs, then we can we should be able to initialize our application like this. After getting the value, we should initialize our application. We should run our app. Okay, run app, my app. So these are the configuration steps that we should do over here. You can use const over here. So this will initialize all the logs for the ZegoCloud. Let's see. Let me stop the application and run the application again. Okay, here you can see the logs are initialized over here. Okay, now we can see all the logs while we are trying to connect to the live stream. So over here, without statically rendering this our login page, I am using the get current user. If the user is not null, that means there is an user already login. If the user is not null, we can redirect the users into our home page. Else, we can say the users to go to the login page and login. Okay, right. We can add the constants over here. Right, now we have to perform the things. Here I am planning to type the live ID. From type in the live ID, we can start a new live, or we can join to a existing live. Okay, that's the plan I am having in my mind. So in the home page, do the configurations for this. Okay, so let me add some things over here. These things are not related to the ZegoCloud. After the divider, I will add this. Okay, so let me explain while running. I added the text field over here saying welcome to Flutter Live, start a new live stream or joined an ongoing one by entering live ID. And I added the text field to enter the live ID over here. Here are some decorations only. In the decorations, I am adding field color, and I am adding some label text, and I adding an enabled border and focused border over here. Okay, and I am getting the text or the ID entered over here by using an text editing controller. Okay, let's wait until the application get finished. Okay, you guys can see the SDK, the video call or the video streaming SDK is installed inside our application. Okay, now you can see what we have created. We added the text field and we added the input field that we can type some live ID over here. Okay, let me cancel this. This is some features from the Android 15. So we can add some live ID over here, and users should be able to start a live or join to a X16 live. So for do this, I should create two buttons. Okay, so let me create two buttons. So here, let me create two buttons over here. After showing the text field, I want a row. In the row, there can be multiple children. So I want two elevated buttons. Let me create one elevated button over here. Let me keep the onPressed function empty as we kept earlier, and I will add this child. This child will be, so sorry, here the child will be from this button we can start a live. You can see the button is already added. We have to add some styles. Let me define a style over here. So because the style will be constant, I will be able to define some styles. So here, let me move to the class. After defining the text editing controller, let me add some button styles like this. So here we added some background color, some fixed size and some shape, so we can use these button styles inside our both elevated buttons. Okay, so here we can use this style over here like this. The button is, now we can see the button is styled. Okay, I want two elevated buttons. Let me copy this and let me take a duplicate. Here I want to join an X16 live. Let me say join live. Okay, right now I can set some things. Main axis alignment as main axis alignment, space between to make the buttons separate, and I can add sized box over here for height. Let me add 20. Let's see. Okay, this is good, I guess. Uh, let's say not space between, let's say space evenly. This is good, no? This is good, space evenly. So by here we can start a new live or we can join a 16 live. So the joining method, so here these things are happening like this. We have to configure this method. So users should be able to start a new live or users should be able to join a 16 live. Okay, so I will name this method as jump to live. Okay, here I must pass the build context for this method also, and here I should have some required fields also. The string live ID. What's the live ID? The live ID is the thing that we are entering from the text field that we have created, and we should also pass a boolean called is host. Here the is host boolean will be help us to whether the user is to check whether the user is starting a live. If the user is starting a live, that user is the host of that live, or whether the user is joining an live. The if the user is joining to an live, the that user will be not a host. Okay, so we can manage those things. So after clicking on that button, we can render another widget. Let me go to that method. Okay, after clicking on this button, we can configure another method. So for do this, I will set a navigation over here. So a navigation, let me pass the live ID, and we have to create this page, a live page. This page will be uh, required to create the live UIs from the ZegoCloud. Okay, so we can separate the ZegoCloud things into another page. That's why I have created a separate page called live page. Okay, so let's create an stateless widget called live page. So users can go to this live page. So here I should add some fields as the live ID and the is host method, is host boolean. Okay, so here there should be final string live ID and also final boolean is host. Okay, I will add these fields to the constructor. Okay, now we can use the ZegoCloud UI kit over here. So let's wrap this inside and safe area. As a child, I can use the ZegoCloud. The widget name is Zego. We can import this from Zego UI kit pre-built live streaming package. Okay, the widget name is Zego UI kit pre-built live streaming. Okay, you should remember that name. Okay, here we have to pass some things. We have to pass the app ID. We can get the app IDs and those things from the Zego dashboard. Okay. Uh, Let me first, let's say the app IDs, and we can get the correct app ID from the dashboard. I will show that. You can see the app ID must be an integer. After the app ID, there is another field called app sign in. This is an string value. Okay. App ID, app sign in, and there should be a user ID. So here we can create a user ID like this. Let me create a user ID, a method to create a user ID. Okay. We can also use the user ID from the Firebase user. So let's create a user ID. So here I will create a new folder called constants. Inside this constants folder, I will create a constants.dart file. So inside this file, I will create a method to return a random user ID, a random UID. I will use the math library. Next in to string. This must be converted to a string. This will create an random integer. You can read this. This will create an random integer between 0 and 10,000. You can hover over this and see. This will create a random ID between 10 and 0. Okay. So now we can use this local ID as the user ID over here. And also we have to pass some username, and I will use the user ID for the username, and I will get the live ID from here. And here's an config. This is the thing that we should use the host thing that we passed over here. So as you can remember, so this widget must be an stateful widget. Okay, you must remember that this widget must be an so this widget, the live page widget must be an stateful widget. Okay, so we can get the widget is host variable over here. If this is an host, this must be configured as a host. So we can use the Zego UI kit pre-built live streaming config dot host method over here. Else this will be an audience. No, this will be an audience, so we can use the audience configurations over here. Okay, this will be very easy. Also, if we want to configure some avatars, we can do that thing also. So inside this config, you can use an avatar also. So let me create an avatar. Okay, so as you can remember in the previous video that we used the ZegoCloud, I used an thing that RoboHash website to create this avatar. I will use the same approach over here. I will create an utils folder and create an command.dart file. So I will paste the code to create an avatar over here. So you can find all the codes from my GitHub repository. I am using this robohash.org. If we pass any different user IDs, we can create different avatars from here, and this will return me an cache network image. If you can remember, we install this package to cache our network image. So the each time we are using this package, the image will be cached inside our local storage without getting this every time from the network. Okay, so this will return an Sego avatar. Okay, you can see Sego avatar is provided from the Sego UI kit. Okay, from the live page we can configure the avatar like this. So if we wrap the config from an bracket, we must be able to pass the avatar like this. Okay, we must be able to pass the avatar like this. There must be an avatar builder. So for the avatar builder we can use the custom avatar builder over here. So here we don't need to pass anything. Let's see. The custom avatar builder don't require anything. You can see this is the custom avatar builder that we have created using the robohash package. Okay, sorry, we should let's see. Okay, we should have the cache network image package also. Okay, so we can set the avatar over here. This will show an avatar before joining the live streaming or live from as a host or as an audience. Okay, right, this is the configuration steps. So this will start a new live streaming, or we can join to an existing live streaming. Okay, so these are all the things that we should require to do a live or start a live. Let's check whether these things are working in the home page. Yes, I should bind this method in the home page. Okay, so go to the home page. Let's bind these methods. You can, if you can remember, I created this method jump to live method. Okay, let's bind that. If we are joining as a host, like this, let's say we should check the Sego streaming control over here also. Sego over here, let me import the package from Sego UI kit pre-built live stream. So we have to pass some things. Dot there is an minimize, n is minimizing. We can return this. So this will prevent multiple instances when minimized. Okay, so after minimizing we can jump to the live page. Jump to live, we have to pass the context, and we have to pass the live text controller text over here. So trim more, so we can trim if we are having any white spaces, and the host must be true, no, because we are starting a live, so the host must be true. Okay, we can copy the same logic from here, and here we have to change the host is as false, because if the host is false, we can see if the host is false in the live page, we are starting the live stream as an audience. Okay, so let me stop the emulation process. Okay, now let's enter some ID. Let me enter to the 1234 live and click on start live. You can see some configurations are happening. Nice. You can see this is already pre-built using the ZegoCloud UI. Okay, as because this we use the ZegoCloud UI kit, because you can see how much the UI looks nice. Okay, this is an random image. This is the configuration, the avatar builder that we use. This is an image that we got from the robohash. You can remember. Okay, you can configure some things over here also, the skin tone. If we test this inside inside our real application you guys can see these things. Okay, so before starting the live, you can see I am getting some errors because we forgot to set the real values over here. You can see we have to set the app id and app sign in over here, the real values. Okay, to set these things, let me teach you the best practice. So inside this lib folder, let me create a secrets folder, secrets.dart file, and you can find this dart file inside our repository also. In the lib there must be an secret.example file. Okay, secrets copy.dart, and you can copy this class from here, and you have to replace, let me cancel this and close this. Okay, let me move to the code again. So you have to replace these from the real IDs, real app ID and real app sign in. Okay. So to get the real app ID and real sign in, you should again go to the ZegoCloud dashboard. After going to the project, okay, I am inside the project. Let me go to the dashboard again. So after going to the dashboard, you should move to the project that you created. Okay. So inside the project, you can find the app ID over here. You can copy the app ID, and I will move to the code and I will paste the app ID over here, and you can copy the app sign in over here. Let me paste the app sign in. So as you can see, this is my app ID and this is my app sign in. Okay. So next, move to the live page, and inside the live page, you can use the app secrets class to get the app ID and the app sign in correctly. App secrets and app sign in. Okay, after getting these two, let me stop the application again and let me rerun the application. Okay, let's test this again. Let me enter the live ID as 1234 and start the live. So you can see the live is starting, and now we are getting the permissions, and let all the permissions accept all the permissions while using this app. Okay, now you can see this get the permissions to our microphone and our camera. So as I am running this inside my emulator, this will be somewhat slow. If you are running this physical inside your mobile phone, this will be much faster and much smooth. Okay, let me start the live. So now you can see the live started. Okay, so these are the things that I have to discuss in this video. I guess you guys got a lot of knowledge configuring Flutter and Firebase, initializing Firebase authentication, and also the best part is we used ZegoCloud UI kit, the ZegoCloud live streaming UI kit. Let me show the ZegoCloud live streaming UI kit to create a beautiful application that we can chat, that we can live stream our things with our friends. Okay, so if you guys having any issues, please follow the source code over here also, and if you guys still have any issues, please create an issue in the issues section so we can focus directly on the issue in this issues section. Okay, so you guys can find all the references, all the reference videos and link to this GitHub repository from this video description. Okay, so if you want to confirm anything further, please let me know in the comment section. So let's meet in our next video.